The increasing pressure and mounting difficulties seem to be taking a noticeable toll on Donald Trump, as he appeared visibly sick and weak. During a press interaction, he abruptly cut off a reporter asking a perfectly valid but uncomfortable question about the recent Trump national security scandal. This comes at a time when a leading Senate Republican is calling for an investigation into the matter. Before diving deeper into that, if you enjoy this video and want to support the channel, please remember to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bells. Now, back to the bad news for Donald Trump, though personally, I think it's good news for America. However, I can't help but notice how physically unwell he looks and sounds in this clip as he tries to avoid a critical question.
Apple is spending $500 billion. Okay, any other?
On the Signal chat, Senator Roger Wicker.
Hold on one second. Yes. Go ahead.
Second Senator, wait. Signalgate, the sign chat, Roger Wicker. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Anybody else again? You can see the panic on his face. You can hear it in his voice. He does not sound well at all, nor should he. Quite frankly, because it's not good out there for Trump. So what's he talking about? Who's Roger Wicker? Well, Roger Wicker is the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, okay? Basically the body in the United States Senate which oversees the U.S. military from an oversight perspective. And he kind of sandbagged Trump in a fair way, though. GOP Senator Roger Wicker requests expedited watchdog investigation into Signal Chat League. Wicker, a Mississippi Republican, and chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee on Thursday, requested an expedited Inspector General investigation into the leak of a sensitive Signal group chat about strikes in Yemen that has stunned Washington in recent days. Earlier this week, Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor of The Atlantic, revealed that he was added to the group on the encrypted messaging app and observed as TR as top Trump officials discussed sensitive plans to strike targets in Yemen. On Wednesday, a day after top Trump administration officials claimed that no war plans were discussed, The Atlantic published screenshots of more text that showed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth provided operational details about the timing of the strikes and the weapons and aircrafts that would carry them out. Wicker, on Thursday, announced a letter had been sent to Steve Steens, the acting Inspector General of the Department of Defense, requesting an inquiry into the, quote, facts and circumstances surrounding the above-referenced Signal chat incident, including an accounting of what was communicated and any remedial actions taken. As a result, the letter also asked for clarity on the Defense Department's policies surrounding employees sharing, quote, sensitive and non-classified information on non-government networks and electronic applications, and whether this chat violated them, speaking to reporters at the Capitol. Wednesday, Wicker previewed the committee's path forward. He said he and Ranking Member Jack Reed, a Rhode Island Democrat, would be sending a letter asking the administration to expedite an investigation by the Defense Department's Office of Inspector General and provide the findings to the committee. The chairman said another letter to the administration would seek, quote, to get the ground truth. And he noted that the committee wants to determine whether the published transcript is accurate. Wicker also noted Wednesday to reporters that the information has been published. Quote, appears to me to be of such a sensitive nature that based on my knowledge, I would have wanted it classified. Intelligence officials said again in testimony on Wednesday that no information in the chats was classified, an assertion that has been met with intense skepticism from Democrats and former government officials given the nature of the information that he had disclosed. The Trump administration fired the Inspector General at the Defense Department shortly after Trump took office, part of a broader purge of internal watchdog. At agencies across the government, the Pentagon's IG office is currently being overseen on an acting basis by Steens. Formerly the principal deputy inspector general, asked whether he had confidence the Pentagon would comply with his request for an inspector general probe given the vacancy. Wicker said he did. Wicker said he and Reed are seeking a classified briefing to the Armed Services Committee, quote, relatively soon. with a senior administration official, quote, the chair and ranking member are working together on a bipartisan basis, as we've always tried to do. Wicker said the Mississippi Republican defended the mission at the center of the group chat, saying the strike on the Houthis was a hugely successful mission of which I greatly approved. He said it was a shame that the security question is distracting the public from, and all of us, from a big success. Internationally, earlier in the day, Wicker said he did not believe he should resign, asked later about any consequences he should face. Wicker said he's, quote, glad in this case no real damage was done. So again, still a Republican, still a Trump loyalist, as much as possible. But even Wicker is like, yeah, we got to look into this. Donald Trump later remarked on the Signalgate inquiry and things like that. And he referred to it by one of his favorite iconic phrases. See if he catch
Response to Republican lawmakers who have said today that your administration should take more accountability and not downplay what's happened with Signal that we've seen in these messages today.
Well, I don't know about downplaying. The press upplays it. I think it's all a witch hunt. That's all. I think it's a witch hunt. I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't there, but I can tell you the result is unbelievable because the Houthis are looking to do something. They want to know, how do we stop? Can we have peace? The Houthis want peace because they're getting the hell knocked out of them. It's been very, very strong. The Houthis are dying for peace. They don't want this. And they're bad.
So again, he has to emphasize, well, I had nothing to do with it. Well, the buck stops here is the old expression regarding the leadership of the White House. It was ultimately on your watch. But set that aside. Again, he's resurrecting. He's blowing the dust off the phrase witch hunt, which was his favorite expression, when it referred to any sort of legitimately illegitimate inquiry against him. Okay, now he's trying to downplay it here, as we've discussed in a previous video. The polling on this, at least preliminarily, is not good for Trump. But when he says witch hunt, we have to think, okay, well, are you indicating that it's not a legitimate concern? In which case, we actually have to look to the experts on this. Former Intel officials are not buying the White House dismissals of signal chat risks. As reported by ABC News, the White House doubled down Wednesday on its insistence that top national security officials did nothing wrong when they discussed a pending military strike in Yemen over a commercial messaging app known as Signal. Former intelligence and military officials, though, say there's little doubt that such exchanges never should have happened that way and warned that U.S. troops could have been put at risk. Okay, experts say the timing of pending military strikes is closely held, sensitive information. Trump and his top aides aren't denying that they started a group chat and Signal to talk about a pending military attack on Yemen. Instead, they're insisting that the information wasn't classified because the data didn't include the locations of the strikes or SB-specific sources and methods. They also say they're looking into how the journalist Jeffrey Goldberg was inadvertently added to the chain in interviews. Several former defense and intelligence officials insisted that an exact location of a strike isn't needed for the information to be damaging to national security experts. Said those details are so sensitive that if leaked, they could put troops carrying out the strike in danger because it gives the adversary time to fight back. Quote, it was 100% classified, said Darlblocker, a former CIA field operative, an ABC News contributor, said of the reported text exchange based on his 3 decades with a security clearance blocker, added the Trump's national security team FA, quote, failed the soldiers, diplomats, and intelligence officers by not adhering to their own rules and orders. ABC News contributor Mick Mulroy, a former senior Pentagon official and CIA officer, added that the location of a strike isn't the most sensitive detail for an enemy to have, quote, if leaked to the enemy, they know where they are, said Mulroy. QU adversaries just need to know when and what platform to be looking for. Former officials also questioned whether intelligence sources were compromised when Waltz reported in the chat that the enemy's, quote, top missile guy had walked into a building that collapsed after the attack. Charles Cooperman, a former national security advisor during Trump's first term, said this, excuse me, Deputy said this detail most likely suggests the use of an overhead surveillance drone or signals intelligence like device tracking technology, but it could also reveal the presence of assets on the ground in SAA, tracking the movements of senior Howie officials. He said, quote, "For us to know where gentleman was at the exact moment means you've got real-time intelligence." Cooperman said Trump stop aides also seized on the Atlantic, describing the online chat group as discussing war plans, though in subsequent reporting it used the term attack plans. In general, experts say war plans might refer to broad plans for conflict in another country, such as invading Iraq or responding to aggression from China. Attack plans might refer to a more specific targeted military operation, like the strikes in Yemen. Both are highly sensitive and shouldn't be discussed on commercial apps. Not cleared for classified information, they say, quote, "One could actually make the argument that attack plans are more sensitive because they're more detailed and specific on time, place, and manner." Let's see. Signal is indeed considered a highly secure encrypted app that can be used by government personnel. But according to a recent policy proposed by the Pentagon, it does not appear to be authorized to transmit sensitive information like the timing of a military strike. So the experts are here on this? I mean, right now, you have Trump bullshitting. But the fact of the matter is, they're can't ICT'd by the facts and the people who have tangible decades worth of experience on this matter. You're just simply wrong that said, I want to play one last clip from Trump, trying to deflect and deny and do the usual Trump method when confronted with a legit...
Should Secretary Hegseth consider his position over the signal?
Hegseth is doing a great job. He had nothing to do with this. Hegseth. How do you bring Hegseth into it? He had nothing to do. Look, it's all a witch hunt. Here we are talking about some of the greatest business deals ever made. The greatest companies in the world are moving into the United States, and you want to ask about whether or not Signal works. I don't know that Signal works. I think Signal could be defective, to be honest with you. And I think that's what we have to, because you use Signal and we use Signal and everybody uses Signal, but it could be a defective platform, and we're going to have to find that out.
If that's the case, then your team is still responsible for this because they were the ones who decided to use Signal. Even if everything you're saying is true and we take it at face value, there's no way out of this. Your team messed up. It's your fault, your administration's fault, and no matter how you try to spin it, you are objectively wrong. Even this excuse only highlights that. The reason people are bringing up Hegseth is because he's the one who leaked the war plan, including attack details like the manner, location, date, weather patterns, aircraft used, and weaponry involved. He's the one who did it. Michael Waltz, your national security advisor, was the one who added him to the chat. So, depending on how you want to spin this, Waltz played a role in bringing Goldberg into the conversation, but Hex was the one who provided the most sensitive information in a chat that Goldberg was already in. They're both probably equally responsible for this. That's why Hex is being mentioned. But as usual, Trump deflects by calling it a witch hunt. So far, the American people aren't buying it, and it's up to the Democrats to ensure that Trump and the Republicans face serious political consequences for this. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.